Where's Mr. Sherman? Good afternoon, Mr. Sherman. How are you today? You're muted. Unmute, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing fine, thank you. You survived the storm okay?
Yeah, actually, I had to drive down to Oakland Municipal Court, which is down near Cherry Hill. I was surprised they didn't have any sort of delay or anything. So everything was good, though. Thank you.
A lot of my courts were delayed today. I don't know why, but they were.
Yeah, the roads really weren't bad.
Yeah, I think what happens is we worry about the school kids, which we should, and the buses can't get through, and that's what happens. So at any rate, I'm glad you're here as your client with us on the screen. I don't.
She
Yes,
is, Your Honor.
Ms.
She
Sicora-Ludwig, you're very cloudy on the screen. Is there something? No,
Yeah, you may have to sit a little bit close. There we go.
Sit closer. Okay, very well. Today is the 12th day of February 2025. We're in the Highland Park Municipal Court. It's a transfer case from New Brunswick, State versus Suzanne Sicora-Ludwig. Mr. Sherman, I need your appearance on the record, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Joseph Sermon, Freehold, New Jersey, on behalf of Miss Sicora-Ludwig, who is present on the Zoom call, and we do consent to proceeding virtually in this matter.
Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, I'll have your appearance, please.
Robert Janskovich on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Sicora-Ludwig, you were before me in July, and at that time I reviewed your rights with you, told you the nature of the charges and the nature of the penalties. I'm going to give you your rights again just to make sure that everything is in order. Every defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have Mr. Sherman, your attorney, take testimony on your behalf to make sure the state can prove its case. You understand all that, ma'am? You have to unmute so that I can hear you, please. It's the bottom little microphone on the bottom of your screen. There you go.
Now, okay.
Okay, so you were able to hear me when I reviewed your rights for you?
Yes, sir, and yes, I understand.
Okay. I have to ask you a few questions before we begin. Number one, are you an American citizen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about any immigration issues. And Mr. Sherman, it's my understanding that you and your client are ready to proceed today on these matters.
That is correct, Your Honor. I've discussed the matter with Mr. Janskovich. We have reached a proposed resolution of the charges, and Ms. Sicora-Ludwig is aware of same, and she wishes to proceed with a guilty plea today. I can put the details on the record. I don't know if you want to hear it from Mr. Janskovich.
Yeah, Mr. Janskovich will put them on the record, but I want to make sure. I see that there was a Hollab order dated November 5, 2024. I heard that matter on November 6th of 2024, and I granted the order and I relaxed time for the documents for another 45 days. Mr. Sherman, you're satisfied you've gotten all the documents that you had requested or needed if they were available?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Are there any other legal issues that we have to dispose of before we get to whatever the proposal is in this matter?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Mr. Janskovich, your appearance, please, on the records.
Robert Janskovich on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
Thank you. This summons number 530257 is a DWI from March the 8th of 2024. This matter is a New Brunswick matter. It was transferred to Highland Park by the presiding judge of the presiding municipal judge of Middlesex County. And I understand we're ready to proceed. So, Mr. Janskovich, I'll hear your proposal.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, in connection with summons 257, rather, the underlying DUI charge, I've had an opportunity to review the file. I've discussed the case with Mr. Sermon. And it's my understanding, Judge, that there's going to be a guilty plea entered into that summons. And it would be entered as a Tier 1 first offense observation case, Judge. And the reasoning for that is although there was a motor vehicle accident, there was no other persons involved that I recall at this matter. There was a transport to the hospital. There was application made for a blood warrant. A blood sample was drawn. But the state's problem with the blood sample, Judge, is when it was taken down to the New Jersey State Police lab, apparently the blood samples were labeled with a different case number than what was the case number generated for this particular incident. Looking at the paperwork I have from the lab and the officer's narrative report, it appears that that error may have been discovered by the lab personnel afterwards. And I'm looking at a communication log from the state police lab, and it states samples received had case number 24NB02139, call to confirm submitting agency number as 24NB02141. Detective Maimone confirmed that this is the case number associated with the suspect, Suzanne Sicora-Ludwig, and that a report was generated to their end to attest to that. So again, Judge, just to be clear, these samples and the report indicates that dispatch may have given the officer the wrong case number. But
By
so,
dispatch, you mean dispatch in New Brunswick?
correct, sir.
Okay,
So, Judge, in the interest of justice, when I have any piece of evidence that's mislabeled, I am automatically hesitant to rely on the validity of it, and especially in a case of this nature, Judge. So for that reason, the state is not going to seek to enter into evidence that particular blood sample for the reasons I placed upon the record, Your Honor. And
and
if I may proceed with regard to the companion summonses, should the court accept the plea agreement that's being placed before it, I would also seek dismissal on the companion summonses, Judge.
is it the state's position that because of the mislabeling of the blood sample, that the state would be unable to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the elements of the DWI as originally written?
Well, Judge, I can prove the elements of the DWI beyond a reasonable doubt as to an observation cases, which is where we're landing. The blood sample would just potentially have, as the court is aware, different sentencing guidelines. So I can absolutely, in my opinion, prove the elements beyond a reasonable doubt for the observation case, which I believe is why the defense is entering into the guilty plea, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Thurman, I gather that the state is not going to use the blood results because of the information that the prosecutor just put on the record. And he's going to proceed as an observation case only. So I'm going to swear in Ms. Sicora, and we'll take some testimony. Ms. Sicora, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth in this matter?
I do.
Thank you. Put your hand down. Mr. Sherman, in regard to the DWI, do you want to take a factual basis for me, please?
Sure, Your Honor. Ms. Sicora-Ludwig, I'd like to direct your attention to March 8th of 2024. Were you operating a vehicle on that evening within the limits of the city of New Brunswick?
Yes, I was.
And at some point in time, you were involved in a single car accident, again, within the confines of the city of New Brunswick, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to operating the vehicle on the night in question, had you consumed a quantity of alcohol?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell me what type of drinks you had and how many?
To the best of my recollection, approximately 3 or 4 drinks and martinis.
Okay, and were those alcoholic beverages consumed time-wise in close proximity to when you operated the vehicle on that evening?
Yes, they were.
Would you agree with me that by consuming those alcoholic beverages prior to operating the vehicle on March 8th of 2024, that in doing so, it impacted your ability to safely operate that motor vehicle?
Yes.
Judge, I'll defer to the state with regard to the factual basis as well as the court.
Thank you. Just bear with me when I do this paperwork. February. Mr. Janskovich, you have any idea,
No, Your Honor.
examination, I mean,
No, sir.
okay. Any further witnesses?
No,
None,
wait.
Your Honor.
None? Okay. So, I've heard the testimony of the defendant, Ms. Sicora-Ludwig, and I find same to be truthful. She indicates that on the date in question, which was March the 8th of 2024, she was operating a motor vehicle in the city of New Brunswick. Prior to operating that vehicle, she had 3 or 4 martinis to drink, and the alcohol in those martinis obviously affected her ability to operate the motor vehicle in a careful and prudent manner. Accordingly, based on the testimony before me, I will accept the plea, and I'll hear you, Mr. Sherman, for sentencing.
Judge, I would ask that Your Honor impose the minimum penalties in this matter. Ms. Sicora-Ludwig has led a law-abiding life. This is her first DUI charge. I believe she may be giving a statement to the court, but I'll kind of summarize that this was a particularly difficult time of year for her, in the sense that it was around the time of her wedding anniversary. She lost her husband several years ago. So obviously this was a lapse in judgment on her part, but nonetheless, I think certainly she's entitled to the minimums given the fact that she's led a law-abiding life to this point. There were no other, obviously it was a single car accident. I would ask for a civil reservation. I don't believe that there's any claim for property damage. There was a tree that she had struck, but I don't believe that there's any claim for property damage. But just to be safe, I would ask for a civil reservation. And I really don't have anything else to say regarding sentencing.
Okay, Mr. Janskovich.
Your Honor, my understanding is the statute for this offense would call for a 3-month interlock. The state obviously is looking for that. And that I have no other comments on sentencing. I'm not seeking incarceration in this particular matter, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Sherman, your client installed the interlock already?
She has, Your Honor. It's currently installed on her vehicle. She reports to me that she did actually go to motor vehicle yesterday. I guess this is a procedure I hadn't heard about before, but I guess they issued her a voluntary interlock license, which I understand she's probably still going to have to turn in today. But I just put that on the record just so that Your Honor understands that motor vehicle is aware that the Motor Vehicle Commission is aware that the interlock has been installed on her vehicle at this point in time.
Okay, I need to know, I need to confirm, was she a licensed New Jersey driver on the date of this event, which was March the 8th of 2024?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
And,
I checked the abstract. It was valid, and this is a first offense.
okay, and prior to this plea here today, she was in good standing, other than this event, is that correct? So
That's
that,
my
so-
understanding, correct?
so that under the sentencing law, if she had the interlock installed and she went to motor vehicle, that I can waive the fine in this matter. Do you have any objection to that, Mr. Janskovich?
We have no choice, sir, so no objection.
There's always a choice. But
No objection, Your Honor.
I will waive the fine. The law requires if she's a licensed driver prior, a New Jersey licensed driver prior to this incident. And since the time of the incident, she installed the interlock, went to motor vehicle, that I can waive the fine. I'm going to do that. So the penalties today will be as follows. There's going to be $33 in court costs. $50 for the Violent Crimes Board, $75 for the Safe Neighborhoods, $250 is the $225, I should say, is the surcharge to the state of New Jersey for the no point for the surcharge. There's 12 hours in the intoxicated driver center for evaluation. And the interlock is already installed. and the interlock must remain for a period of 3 months. In connection with the remaining matters, the state has requested that I direct verdicts of dismissal. And I'll do that. I've noted the civil reservation on the summons itself, Mr. Sherman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, the record should reflect, I'm going to dismiss summons 530-258, 533-870, 533-871, 530-256. Now, Ms. Sicora-Ludwig, it's my obligation to advise you that if you're found guilty or you plead guilty a second time, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol, you're looking at a $500 to $1,000 fine, 48 hours in the intoxicated driver center, 2 to 90 days in jail, mandatory, 1 to 2 years loss of your driving privileges, and 2 to 4 years of an interlock device. Now, I have taken your right to drive in the state of New Jersey until you have the interlock and you get the special license in Trenton. If you're found guilty or you plead guilty to driving before all that happens, and you're mostly there because you already have the interlock, all you need is the new special license, which you can get, and you take the paperwork down to Trenton and they'll give you the new license. The enhanced penalties would apply, be not less than $1,000 fine, not less than 1 additional year loss of your driving privileges, and maybe most important to you, there's a mandatory jail sentence between 10 and 90 days. If you don't agree with any decision that I rendered in this case of yours today, you have 20 days to file an appeal. Appeals are not heard here in Highland Park. They're heard in the Superior Court in New Brunswick. You perfect that appeal by filing a notice of appeal within 20 days from that final decision, and you come here in order and pay for a copy of the transcript of your case, because that's what's used as the basis for the appeal. You understand all my instructions, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good luck to you.
Judges, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make a brief statement if I could, if it pleases the court.
Certainly.
I just want to say,
Excuse me 1 second. I said certainly, but your attorney is sitting right here. I want to make sure Mr. Sherman agrees.
Yeah, I have no objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that, over the past year, I have pontificated prolifically over my actions. And that evening was draped in grief and engulfed in remembrance on the anniversary of my husband's violent, tragic death. And I offer this implicitly as an explanation, not as an excuse. The circumstances led to a lapse in judgment, to make personal amends and amends with the people I serve in different capacities. I've confronted that grief, and I've also committed even more of my time volunteering in my community and throughout the state to have a positive impact on the lives of others. And I just want to thank my attorney, Mr. Sermon, the court, and you, Judge Herman, for hearing me out and for your time.
No problem. Thank you. I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully this will be a wake up and learning experience. And
Yes.
trust we won't be seeing you again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Judge, just a quick question on my
Sure.
end, the logistics. I know it is a case that's transferred from New Brunswick, so my understanding is that she's going to have to go to New Brunswick to fill out or sign the forms regarding the enhanced penalties for a subsequent offense, as well as the penalties in this case. Is she turning her license into Highland Park or New Brunswick?
She can turn it into New Brunswick. And once she does that, you told me that she went to Trenton and she got an interlock temporary license?
Yeah, I was, go ahead, Ms. Ludwig, if you want to just clarify that.
I did. I had it installed and I took the paperwork and it went to motor vehicle with it and registered it through them and paid, all the processing fees that are needed for the interlock device, and it is in working order.
Did they give you a new license?
No, she'll have to surrender temporary,
You're gonna have to surrender the temporary one.
Understood.
get a ride, and then
and-
they'll issue the.
Right,
proper
but
one.
remember, you won't be able to drive it there. You'll have to have somebody drive you there, okay?
Understood.
Okay, very good. We'll ship this back to New Brunswick today. And hopefully, sometime tomorrow, they'll have the paperwork. Because the sooner they get it, the sooner you can call and make an appointment to go there and sign the paperwork so you can get the Trenton and get the license, okay?
Thank you, sir.
But in
Thank
the
you, Your Honor.
meantime, you understand, Mr. Sicora-Ludwig, you can't drive on that license that they gave you.
I absolutely understand.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you all for all the efforts in this matter. I'm relieving all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge, I'm going to go to the breakout rooms to speak.